Welcome to U.S. Crash Course History. Today we're going to talk about the Battle of Gettysburg and how it affected American history.
Actually, I think we should talk about Confederate history.
Actually, that didn't happen because of this battle. Let's learn. Robert E. Lee was coming off a victory over the Union at Chancellorsville. His victory was over Joseph Hooker, who was demoted by Lincoln, and his position was taken by George Gordon Meade. Meade swiftly decided to pursue Lee's army into southern Pennsylvania. On day one, a Confederate division was sent to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania to scavenge supplies, but met resistance in the form of two cavalry brigades from the Union. The Union troops were pushed back to Cemetery Hill. Lee wanted to push the Union troops back farther, so he ordered an attack on Cemetery Hill, but the leader he commanded refused to attack because he thought the Union forces and their position was too strong. Union troops arrived later that night to support Cemetery Hill. Day 2. Lee commanded an attack from two directions. The first would be led by James Longstreet from their current position, while Ewell attacked the right side around Culp's Hill. The Union troops were being led by Daniel Sickles. Three primary positions where fighting occurred between the troops, led by Sickles and Longstreet, were Little Round Top, an Orchard, and Devil's Den. The second day resulted in the Confederates gaining Devil's Den and the Orchard, but they could not break Little Round Top. Ewell's troops did not make any progress at Culp's Hill. The casualties between the first 2 days totaled about 35,000. The second day's fighting involved at least 100,000 soldiers, of which roughly 20,000 were killed, wounded, captured, or missing. The second day itself ranks as the 10th bloodiest battle of the Civil War, with far more casualties than the much larger Battle of Fredericksburg. On day 3, the 12th Army Corps for the Union were able to fend off Confederate soldiers near Culp's Hill after about 7 hours of long battle. An artillery barrage was used by the Confederate forces before sending 3 divisions of troops, led by George Pickett, to attack Union troops at Cemetery Ridge. This attack was known as Pickett's Charge. Let's go to the thought bubble for more info. On the third day of the Battle of Gettysburg, General George Pickett set to action his famous attack upon the Union Army. The South could not penetrate the Union defenses by attacking the sides for the whole morning. At around 2 o'clock, Confederate leader Robert E. Lee decided to go for the center of the Union forces. He sent General George Pickett to lead his men and some others for a final attack. About 15,000 Confederate soldiers attacked the Union center. The South bombarded the North center for around 20 minutes and then charged. The problem with this was that the rebel soldiers accidentally divided themselves up instead of staying together as a large formidable mass, and none of the new small groups had any success breaking the Union ranks. The next day, the battle was over and Lee withdrew his forces and returned to the Southern Territory. The South lost 28,000 men of the 75,000 they came with, while the Union lost around 22,000 soldiers. This charge was the closest the Confederate Army ever got to Washington, D.C. Jared, but why was it important? Well, mate from the past, you may be wondering why the Battle of Gettysburg is so important. Let me enlighten you. If the outcome of this battle had been a Confederate victory, then the South would have probably had enough momentum to eventually take over the Union capital. This would have crushed Union morale and given the South the leg up they needed to win the war. This would in turn separate the two halves of the USA. This would break the American dream, and everything America contributed to the world after 1864 would never have happened. Even worse, slavery could possibly still exist today if no other world powers had ever been able to pull the Confederate States of America from the very idea that they based their entire existence upon. We hope you found this video informative and helpful as we walked you through one of the most important events in American history, the Battle of Gettysburg.